My name is Marissa Rognan, and for my project, I decided to do an REI ad campaign. I think their ads are really great. They generally look really presentable. They're very nature-oriented, so they sell the product well, and they generally just have a good design overall. So this is the ad that I chose. The slogan is "For those who love to get outside and play," and the idea behind this ad campaign was to take pictures of people doing outdoor adventurous things and making excuses for why they can't make it to work that day. So first, let's critique this ad based off of color and typography. So the first thing I noticed about this ad was the color scheme. It's very nature-oriented and adventurous. They don't use a lot of harsh colors. They stick to colors that you'd find in nature, like blues and greens and grays and browns. So I think that color scheme really adds to the design. The next thing I noticed was the font. They used a serif font, which has hard, jagged lines, which remind me of mountains. They're bold, so they really stand out. And I think this font really ties into the nature-oriented feel of the ad. Another element I noticed was the left alignment they used. So on the left, it is perfectly aligned, just a straight line, but on the right, the words make a jagged outline, which I think is very nature-oriented as well. It follows jagged lines of rocks and mountains and things that you'd find in nature in general. So I thought that was good representation. Some other design elements I noticed was contrast. So the contrast between the mountains and the sky, I think, adds a lot of interest because the mountains are these jagged lines and the sky is very smooth. And although they're similar colors, I still noticed the contrast a lot, and I think it added a lot. Another element of contrast is the colors. So in the top here, we have the grays and blues and whites of the mountain and the sky. And then down here, we have brown and green of the landscape. So I think that's a good contrast as well as the guy on the bike. He's wearing red and yellow, which are colors that you wouldn't normally find in nature, which is why he stands out in the ad, which brings an aspect of humanity to it. The next thing I noticed was proximity. There's a little bit of space between this group of words and this group of words, which makes them seem different because they are related, but they're not supposed to be read as one sentence. And then I also noticed the repetition of the colors and the letters. So the letters tie in with the colors of the white and tie in with their hard lines, which add a design element as well. So after this, I created my own ad, so we're going to take a look at that now. So for my ad, I found a picture of a guy on a horse, and the slogan I used today was, "I can't make it to work today, I'm feeling hoarse," which I thought was pretty clever. So I found a font that was almost identical to the font that REI used in the original ad. So it portrays the same feeling of the original ad, so that it feels like it's part of the same ad campaign. Next, I used natural colors. I used the browns and grays and greens of the original ad that are still very nature-oriented. And lastly, I used just an outdoor adventurous picture, which added to that as well. I used a logo, and I used the same slogan to tie in the ad. So that was my ad project. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thanks for listening.